or high. Lodz, one of the largest cities of Poland. It is located in the center of the country, in 120 kilometers to the southwest from Warsaw, and is the center of the Polish electronic industry. The status of the city since 1423 is based in the 13th century. At the time of the Russian Empire, then it was called Lodz, the district city of the Petrkowski province, 1867-1917. Since 1999, Lodz, the center and the largest city of the Lodz voivodeship. The population of the city makes 696.5 thousand people and is gradually reduced. 1988, 854,000. In the 1990s, Lodz was the second most populated city of Poland after Warsaw, however in the odd years conceded this place Krakow. In 1945-1948, Lodz actually performed functions of the capital of Poland in the conditions of almost final fracture of Warsaw. 1332, Lodz was for the first time mentioned in the document transferring the village of Lodzia to Włocławek's bishops, and on May 15, 1414 the bishop January Krupidla Włocławski founded the ancient settlement in the territory of the settlement of Lodz. On July 29, 1423, under the decree of the King Władysław Jagiello, Lodz acquired the city rights. 1820, on September 20, the decree of Konstantin Pawlowicz, the deputy Tostwa Polskie, Lodz was announced by the manufacturing town. In 1821 the cloth posted to Nowe Miasto, which continuation in 1824 was the weavers' posted. The boat was founded. 1865, on July 30, local authorities got permission to pave the railroad connecting Lodz and the Stickleback, which was put into operation on September 19, 1865. Passenger trains began to ply regularly since June 1, 1866. 1887, the biggest, beautiful and magnificent synagogue in the territory of the Polish kingdom is open. It is burned by Nazis in 1940. 1888, in the building of Victoria Hotel on Potokowskaya Street. 67 was founded on October 6, the Lodz's first professional theatre. Now there is a modern movie theatre of Polonium. 1897, in Lodz the historian medievalist Genrikh Paszkiewicz was born. 1898, on December 24 at 13 o'clock in Lodz was started up the first in the Kingdom Polish the electric tram. 1899, on November 3 Joseph Pilsudski with the spouse lodged in Lodz, to the address Godnaje 19th Street. Here Pilsudski issued the Rabiki newspaper, body of the underground Polish Socialist Party. At night on February 22, 1900 Pilsudski was arrested by Imperial Police and was in imprisonment on Jenskaya Street. 13. In December 1938, Memorial Museum apartment by was created here. Pilsudski. 1903, on August 20 in Lodz the Polish Theatrical Society, the Poland's first organization which is engaged in theatrical and educational activity, was created. 1905, the Poland's first children's hospital of Anna Maria was opened on May 17. In memory of the died granddaughter of the largest Lodz manufacturer Karl V. Scheibler. In 1951 she was renamed into Hospital of Janusz Korczak. 1908 in Lodz, on Kosciuszko Avenue 14 was placed the bank, largest in Poland. The whole of 1100 am. 1914, in the first months of World War I, there was a Battle of Lodz between the German and Russian armies. 1919, the Lodz voivodeship led by Antony Kamensky was created. 1936 was created on May 26 the Circle of Friends of Lodz, which resumed the activity in 1959. On November 27, and was renamed into Society of Friends of Lodz. The circle of his activity is rather wide. Both educational work and local history activity, organization of cultural actions and competitions, publishing work, protection of historical and architectural values, etc. The main department of Odel is located at the address Volnosti Square, 2. After completion of fighting in September 1939 and the German occupation of Poland, the city was renamed into Litzmanstadt, in honor of the German general of World War I Karl Litzmann, who captured Lodz at the end of 1914. And since 1941 there was the center of the administrative district Litzmanstadt to a Reichsgewartland. The enterprises were reoriented on production for Germans. 1940, before Nazi occupation in Lodz, there lived Kard Jews who made a third of the population of the city. At the beginning of war, all Jews of the city and vicinities were driven in a ghetto and later deported to extermination camps. The Lodz ghetto was one of the largest and was liquidated by the last of the Polish ghettos, as was important for the German industry. During war, Kard residents, from them Kard Jews and Kard Poles, died. In the neighborhood of Lodz were also created the camp for Roma and Poles. After the war in the city there were 900 Jews. On March 3, 1943, the diversionary group of Guard of Ludowa burned Kahn's plant working for needs of the German army. All reserve of artificial cotton and 2 cars with regimentals burned down here. On January 18, 1945, the city was freed by the Red Army. In 1945 the government of Poland moved to Lodz, and the city de facto performed functions of the capital till 1948. In 1945, on the basis of Teacher Training College, 1921-1928. The Higher School of the Social and Economic Sciences, 1921-1928. And branch of the Free Polish University existing in Lodz during the interwar period, the Lodz University was created. In 1948, the ceremonial opening of the Higher School of Cinematography, Television and Theatre with participation of her first entrants was held on October 18. This world-famous higher educational institution is located in Oscar Kahn's Palace on Targowa Street. Special pride of school are her glorified graduates. Andrzej Wajda, Roman Polanski, Andrzej Munch, Hedgehog Skolimowski, Krzysztof Kosliowski, Krzysztof of Zanussi, etc. In 1972 building began apartment houses of the dormitory area of Retkin. Population 2017.690422. The big synagogue in Lodz was the main house of worship of local Jewish community. It was destroyed during World War II. Many apartment houses often reflected the social status of owners and industrialists. Along with Aboriginals, the huge role in industrial development of Lodz was played visitors by the population. Poles, Germans, Jews, Czechs, Silezians lived in the second half of the 19th century in Lodz. The Jewish population totaling 240,000 people presented to Lodz the largest manufacturers. Israel Kalmanovich Poznan, Marius Silberstein, Stanislav Yaratinsky, Oskar Kahn. Merchants, bankers, famous architects. David Land, Gustavo Landagutintegera. And writers. Juliana Tuvima and Kaczynski's Hedgehogs. Since 2002 in the city the Festival of Four Cultures is held. The Palace Poznan, Ogrodov Street 15. Now in the palace the Museum of History of the City of Lodz, in which the exhibits connected with life of the city and its celebrities are collected, is placed. Julian Tuvim, Władysław Rayment, Alexander Tansman, Arthur Rubinstein and January Karski. The Old Cemetery on Ogrodova Street, Catholic, Evangelic and Orthodox. Kiabidamana, Krokmana, Geara, Kindamana, Shibura's largest industrialists and also scientists, actors, artists, national heroes and priests are buried. Among tens of historical gravestones, the mausoleum of the manufacturer Scheibler, similar to the small neo-Gothic temple, differs in the monumentalism. The Jewish Cemetery, near Bratskaya Street. The Jewish Cemetery, largest in Europe. 41 hectares. Was created in 1892 and contains about 160,000 graves. Many stone gravestones, in particular mausoleums of large industrialists Poznan, Silbersteinow, Krasakov, Stilerev, Yaratinsky, are ranked as architecture monuments. Here parents Juliana Tuvima and Artura Rubinstein are based. In the southern part of the cemetery there are graves of the victims of the Lodz ghetto. In 1956 the memorial complex in memory was delivered to the dead during war. On November 20, 2012 more than 20 gravestones of the 19th century were broken by vandals. The International Airport of Lodz, Lubliniec, also bears a name of Władysław Rayment, is located in 6 kilometers from the downtown. Connects Lodz and the Lodz voivodeship with several European cities. In 2015, Munich, Amsterdam, Prague, London, Dublin, Edinburgh. Existence of frequent flights to Munich. 2 flights a day. And Amsterdam. 6 flights per week. Provides a possibility of flight with change in many airports of the world. In 2013 Lubliniec took the 8th place among the airports of Poland on passenger traffic. Sites: Karl Anstad Avenue. Monument to the victims of communism in Lodz. 9. Potokovskaya Street passes across the line of the former Potokovsky Path, which in the 19th century witnessed rapid development of the city. Potokovskaya Street is the main city street. She lasts from octagonal Liberty Square, Plyats Volnashi, which carried the name of the market square of the new city earlier. The longest in Poland, the pedestrian zone with shops, bars and restaurants, which here more than 100. And in the summer as well street cafes. Besides, on the boulevard it is possible to sweep on a trishaw or the retro tram. On Potokovskaya Street there take place numerous actions, fairs, happenings and sports meets. Monuments. Potokovskaya Street. 32 to 3 manufacturers. Potokovskaya Street. 104 Julian Tuvim's bench. Potokovskaya Street. 137 Władysław Rayment's trunk. Potokovskaya Street. 78 Arthur Rubinstein's Grand Piano. Potakovskaya Street. 112 A monument to Leon Schiller. Potakovskaya Street. 98 146 A monument to residents of Lodz of the turn of the millennia. 12.859 plates with the engraved names of the glorified and ordinary residents of Lodz. Potakovskaya Street. A street piece between Moniuszko Street and Rubinstein's Passage, the avenue of stars of the Polish cinema. Historical buildings. Potakovskaya Street. 11 Karl Scheibler's house. Potakovskaya Street. 29 Banking House of Wilhelm Landau. Potakovskaya Street. 72 The former factory of Ludwig Meyer reconstructed under Grand Hotel. Potakovskaya Street. 74 The Palace and Ludwig Geyer's factory. Potakovskaya Street. 77 The Palace and Banking House of Maximilian Goldfeder, nowadays Academic Recreation Center and Great Restaurant, Club of Successors. A special attention is deserved by colorful stained glass windows and picturesque furniture of rooms of the second floor. Potakovskaya Street. 86 The facade is decorated with January Gutenberg sculpture. Monument to Tadeusz Kościuszko and Catholic Church of the Holy Spirit. Potakovskaya Street. 100 In the past there was trading house in style, an Esplanada restaurant now. Potakovskaya Street. 104 Uli Geinzel's Palace, nowadays the City Hall of the City of Lodz and Regional Management. Potakovskaya Street. 137/139 Ernst Kindemann's Palace decorated with the Venetian mosaic frieze. Potakovskaya Street. 152 The largest in Poland wall graffiti. Potakovskaya Street. 262 The mansion of the industrialist Robert Schweikert, now the European Institute in which there take place seminars, conferences and other actions. John Paul II Square, the Cathedral of St. Stanislav Kostka. Potakovskaya Street. 272A The halved residence of brothers Karl and Emil Steiner. Potakovskaya Street. 282 White Factory of Ludwig Geyer, the Museum of the Textile Industry. Potakovskaya Street. 283 The Evangelical Augsburg Church of St. Matvey in neo-romantic style. Architecture. The Palace of Israel Poznan, Ogrodowaya 15th Street. Residence of the manufacturer, largest in Poland, nowadays Museum of History of the City of Lodz. The palace, in style of Neo-Baroque, is located at the corner of Street Zachodny, Western, and Negrodowy Garden, along which massive factory walls and working quarters last. Edward Herbst's country house, Schenzelnian Street. Spinning. 72. A characteristic example of the mansion of the end of the 19th century with elements of internal furniture, typical for residences of rich manufacturers. Karl Scheibler's Palace, Zwickenstra. Pobody. Square 1. The quiet facade and style of the Renaissance with an unostentatious ornament contrasts with colorfully issued interior. The Palace. Nowadays the Museum of Cinematography is located in the depth of the ancient park of Shrudlisk with his 300-year oaks. Will a rank-holder of Richter, an outstanding monument of the Polish modernist style. The Palace of Mauritius Poznan, Venskowski Street 36. The palace is sustained in the architectural style reminding the Italian Renaissance. Now and then there is a museum of modern art. Karl Poznanski's Palace, the street of Gdansk 32. The architectural concept of the palace reminds the Florentine Renaissance. Now there is a musical academy. Villa Leopolda Kindermana, Volshinskaya Street 31-33. Villa in style with rich external decorative design. Now here the City Art Gallery is located. Villa Reinkolda of Richter, Skorupki Street 6. The mansion in style eclecticism is located in the depth of the Century Park in which huge oak manufacturer grows. Now there is an administration of the Polytechnical University. Florin Yarish's Country House, Kosciuszko Avenue 88. Robert Biederman's Palace, Franciszkanskaya. Franciscanskonskaya. Street 1/5. Now building of the Lodz University. Industrial constructions. In spite of the fact that the history of Lodz originates in the Middle Ages, the highest blossoming of the city belongs to the period of the Kingdom Polish. Then in the 20th years of the 19th century, in Lodz cloth and weavers' posades were created. At first along the Potokowski path. Nowadays Potokovskaya Street. Where Lodka and Nova Lodka and also water and factory posades were founded on the river the ash tree deposited to Nowe Miasto then. Favorable economic and living conditions involved foreign industrialists. The first manufactories and the mechanized factories were under construction in style of classicism, had the smooth, plastered walls. In the second half of the 19th century in Lodz there were hundreds of brick factories of reinforced concrete structures constructed with yews, and the city received a pro rank of the Polish Manchester. Joint stock company of paper manufactories of I.K. Poznański in Lodz. Factory of Israel Poznan, Ogorodov Street 17. In due time the factory which possessed the second place after Karl Scheibler's factory employed more than 6,000 people and was engaged in manufacture of cotton fabric. Now in the territory of factory the trade cultural entertainment center manufactory, in which connection of modern forms and architecture of factory buildings since the 19th century found the places open. Kiensimlin, at the corner of Szenzelnia Street and Timnetsky. The large factory and housing complex was created by Karl Scheibler, the owner of the cotton factory, largest in Europe. The industrial architectural complex includes fire depot, the railway station, hospital, school, shops, and a home for workers. White Factory of Ludwig Geyer, the street of Piotrkowsk 282. The Lodz's first mechanized industrial enterprise is dated 1839. Now there is a museum of the textile industry. The Belilny Kapisha shop, Timnetsky Street 5. This Lodz's first manufactory which arose in 1826. Krokman's Barrels, Manufactory Gate of Krokmanov Weaving Mill. The reorientated factory buildings. Factory power plant Schieblerov, Timnetsky Street 3/7. A monument of industrial architecture in style. Rhythmical forms, decorative elements from ceramics and metal. Marcus Silberstein's factory, the street of Piotrkovsk 250. The factory building with lines of fortification architecture. Now it is shopping center. Ferdinand Geldner's factory, Revolution 1905, Goda Street 52. This restored factory building is occupied by the Higher School Economic and the Humanities. Botanical Garden. It is founded in 1929 and located in the western part of the city on Shemenetskaya Street 36/38. Cinema. For many years Lodz was considered as the capital of the Polish cinema. In the territory of the city, film studios of feature, popular scientific and animated films, recording studios and production of film copies worked. Lodz is famous for the world-famous Higher School of Cinematography, Television and Theatre. Besides, Lodz is known as the city with magnificent theatrical tradition. The Higher School of Cinematography, Television and Theatre, Targov Street 61/63. Occupies the building of the Palace of Oscar Khan. Special pride of school are her graduates. Andrzej Wajda, Roman Polanski, Hedgehog Skolimovsky, Marek Piwowski, Krzysztof Kosliowski. The Museum of Cinematography, Zwycięstwo Square 1. It is located in Karl Scheibler's Palace. Temporary exhibitions are devoted to motion picture art history, the Polish film hits of the last years and the modern Polish art, in particular the photo and media art. Zwios Avenue, the street of Piotrkovsk. A boulevard piece between Moniuszko Street and Rubinstein's Passage. Opus Film. Lankow Street 29. Occupies the building of the former art film studio. Semafor, the Polish studio of short films. Lodz belongs to a number of the favorite cities of the American director David Lynch, who in 2006 shot the film Inland Empire here. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.